Elizabeth Sparkle isn't choosing use of the substance, she's chasing the only kind of love she understands: admiration, adoration, and worship by others. And that confusion ends up costing her everything, including any real chance of love. The movie starts with Elizabeth at the end of her career. She's been reduced to being something people look at on the morning workout television show. You see, she's only 50, but in Hollywood, you're pretty not that great anymore. You're considered pretty old. And that's especially for a former sex symbol like she was. She no longer is. She's not being pushed at because she's horrible at her job. She does it pretty good. You know, be a good little intermediate to beginner level workout, probably intermediate level. Not bad. She doesn't look bad. She's pretty good. But she's being pushed out because they want to sell more sex. And well, Elizabeth can no longer do such a thing at her age of 50. So therefore, her image that she used all these years to get her adoration and love from people is no longer enough. This crushes her, and it's important to understand why. It's not really about money, it's about attention. Elizabeth needs attention to be admired. She needs people to look at her, cheer for her, and overall want her from afar, mind you, from afar, but still wants it. You see, that's the only kind of love she's ever known, even though it's not real love at all. And honestly, if she saw real love, well, when she does, she shies and runs away from it like the plague. One thing that stands out right away is how alone she is. She has no close friends, no partner, no one to call when her life begins to fall apart. All she ever had was fan worship. When that disappears, there's no one or nothing to catch her when she falls. And this woman, she falls hardcore, and she's got no preparation, none. Right after losing her show, she ends up in a hospital after a car crash the same freaking day. Talk about shit in the city. It's a total breakdown moment. That's where she meets a young, blue eyed doctor who tells her about this substance. Boy, and that guy is good looking. His eyes, you're like, what is this, Blue Lagoon? What's kind of scary about this is how fast she agrees to it. She doesn't ask, like, what is this drug? What does it do? You does what? No, I better not. Because she's not bad looking, but she's not good enough to get the adoration. So she thinks she's trash. She doesn't ask any real questions. She's desperate, shaken, and completely alone. No one knows her well enough to stop her. And unfortunately for her, no one's close enough to say, Elizabeth, don't do it. Just live your life. Come on, let's start a pottery school or a class or whatever. Elizabeth, she takes the drug, and the substance literally divides her into two people: a younger version of herself named Sue, and the original Elizabeth, which, Elizabeth is her name, and she's 50. Elizabeth takes the drug, and the substance literally splits her into two bodies: her original 50 something self and a younger version of herself in her 20s, early 20s. Maybe, her name's Sue. You need to subscribe. He needs your adoration. He needs your love. He needs it. That's the only love he knows. Subscribe to him, man. From that point on, the way Elizabeth treats both bodies tells you everything about how she views bodies, including both her bodies. The young one and the old one are left on the floor and ignored. And at best, they're hidden in some backway area or something like that when one's not being used. It's weird. The young body is preferred, obviously, but it's still just treated like an object. One body is hated, that would be the 50-year-old one, but the other one's treated like an object. And we'll get more to that later, why she treats the body and why she has to switch between the two. Sue gets everything Elizabeth wants: youth, attention, desire, and people love watching her. Not because she's deep or talented, but because she's hot and visible. I mean, she does move. It's not that. I mean, she had to learn the routine, I guess, but it's pretty ridiculously sexy stuff, is all. Super lewd, is what we'd say back in my day. Mm-mm. Her old boss hires Sue immediately. He's like, yes, we love you. You're beautiful. You're young. You're hot. We love it. And it's funny to see the contrast because here she is with, when she's Elizabeth, the guy's a total a-hole. He's a piece of crap, man. It's horrible. But with her, he's fake with her as well when she's Sue, but he's totally like, "Yeah, you're the best. You're the wonderful. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ooh, baby, you're hot." And all these perverted men look at her, and it's just so obvious she's a sex object. But Sue eats it up. She does tell him, however, that she can only work every other week. And she was a little concerned because they might say, "Get the hell out of here." But he's like, "You know what? I love you, baby. Let's do it every other week. You got to go take care of your mother. That's cool. Don't worry about it. Okay." And she's like, "Okay, cool." The reason why she's got to do this is every 7 days, she has to switch bodies. She can only, her conscious is in this young body. And in her conscious, and after 7 days, she's got to move her conscious into the older Elizabeth original body. Also, when Sue has the body, she has to take the spinal fluid. I don't recommend doing that, guys. Don't take people's spinal fluid, but put in these little vials and then inject them in her, to keep her going like that. So that Sue body really does need the Elizabeth body. Now, what's interesting is when the consciousness is in the Sue body, it's a young person. It's got the body signals of a young person, impulsive, drawn by all this attention, all that kind of stuff. When it's in the old body, then there's more of a "what have you done?" blah blah blah, and feeling neglected and being neglected by the young body because I don't know, when I was young, I just didn't care much about 50-year-olds. That's for sure, especially if I knew I had to go back in that body eventually. So it's like whatever body you're in, those are the signals you're getting from the body to your consciousness that you are, and it affects how you think or feel. As you can imagine, Sue, once she gets that attention from that workout show, 7 days doesn't seem enough, man. The rules start to feel unfair. The old body gets ignored longer and longer periods. As it decays, Elizabeth appears and she's like, "Oh no, what have I done? Or what has Sue done to my body?" Because, like, if she misses the 7 days, she literally all of a sudden have like a rotting finger or crippled leg. Like, it's not good. Not good at all. But Sue's having a good time. But Sue was having a great time and being partying and hooking up with dudes, etc., etc. As it decays, Elizabeth grows more and more disgusted with her body, and so does with her old body, and so does Sue, which makes things worse. What is important is that Elizabeth keeps avoiding real human connection the entire time. The old version of the doctor wants to talk to her at the cafe at one point, and I believe, yeah, she's old too. So it's the two old bodies. He's like, "Can I talk to you?" And he's not looking too good because obviously his younger version's been scamming him too and staying in out too long. And she's like, "Why are you talking to me? Grace." Because he's wanting to make a real connection. She could talk to him and find out what's going on, what's happening. She doesn't want to know, man. She wants the adoration. She wants that worship. She wants to be loved by people. And so, no matter how bad it is, she's still willing to do it. Elizabeth just shuts down. So that was one attempt of someone trying to connect to her on a more intimate level, other than "How you doing today? Good job, guys." Generic comment. She runs into some high school dude, and he's kind of dorky and kind of gross. But you know what? You take what you can get, like level one boyfriend. Because I don't know if this woman's even had a boyfriend. And she says, "Hey, you want to go out for a date?" Blah 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 blah. He shows interest, and that's kind of awkward for her and real, and she can handle it. The quiet moments, they just make her feel rejection to her of herself and how ugly she is. She almost sets up a date. She gonna go the night of. She starts looking at. She got all dressed up. She looked great, but due to Sue being out too long and rotting the finger off, she has to wear a glove. And she's like, "You're so ugly." And she makes herself ugly and validates it. And then this ghosts the guy. She does not want to be vulnerable with anyone. By this point, the movie turns into a straight up addiction story. She makes reckless choices. She ignores consequences. She keeps doubling down instead of stopping. When her body starts failing in public, like badly, she doesn't ask for help. She tries to reset the system one more time, though it can't work. Yeah, it's crazy. What she really does is when she's Sue and she's avoiding going back into Elizabeth and Elizabeth's body's getting all whacked and gross and stuff, she eventually fights Elizabeth. Like, I'm not sure how that worked. Conscious split or something. They fought. The young one beat the living tartar out of the older one, obviously. But guess what? The older one's the Matrix. It's the source. You done effed up, girl. You done effed up. So now her body starts falling apart. So she's trying to have a career and she's like losing her teeth and stuff. It's not good. So she gets desperate. She says, well, I killed that body. How about I do another division thing with the substance? Go ahead and divide again. Sue, the younger version. But you can't. It's not going to work well because you're not the source anymore. Yeah, that body's not the source. You killed the source. Nor could you divide again anyways. That was part of their rules. In the end, Elizabeth doesn't find peace or self acceptance. She imagines that people start staring at her and want to see her at the big awards show when she's like freak creature and like her boobs up here. It's just crazy. You're like, dude, what are you doing? Here you were afraid to be seen before, but now you're like, everybody loves me. I'm gonna go to this event. They're gonna love me. She's gone nuts, obviously, because she remember she divided. She's nuts now. She takes her broken, monstrous body, and she thinks people are going to love her for her body. That's the last illusion she clings to. Elizabeth Sparkle never really understood love. She was addicted to being worshipped for an image that wasn't real. Because real love would have meant being known, flaws and all, and that was something she could never allow. She ran away from it. What a pity. She ends up looking like being ahead. Her head, some dude hits her head on the stage. She goes all gross. But then she kind of regenerated back a little bit. So she like went to her star that she had for Elizabeth's Sparkle star. And she looked at the star. And she's like, everybody loves me. Ah. And then she melted away. Well, guys, I hope you liked my video essay of the Sustenance. If you like kind of like body horror type movie with a cool message, I'd recommend it. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. And until next time, peace! Yeah, boy.
If you like videos about movies, TV shows, and even documentaries that we actually take and we find out what they can teach us on how to live better lives, or in some cases, what to not do, then you should pick another one of these videos here. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe, or look, just subscribe, please.